Hey guys, today we're going to show you how to anchor your boat. The method that we're going to show you will stand for whether you are a monohull, a 200-foot trimaran, or heaven forbid, a motorboat.
So this is the third video in our how-to series, and if you'd like access to the rest of the videos, you can get those right now by purchasing our sail guide, which is in the link in the description below.
All those videos are in there, plus everything that Elayna and I have learnt about sailing around, as we've been doing it full time for about the last 5 years. So if you're new to sailing, this would be the very first thing that I would be having a look at.
Absolutely, and we're stoked you guys are loving the guide. Thanks for all your incredible feedback and reviews. And anyway, let's get into it. How to anchor your boat.
Anchoring has some very specific steps, and with good communication you can avoid a lot of the stress involved. I said over there!
Whatever.
What did you just say?
Oh, here we go again.
Don't you dare bring my mother into this. Well, you know what? You haven't made one good video since we've been on the new boat.
Step 1 is checking where you want to anchor. So we did this by using a number of different sources just to make sure that the charts are accurate and they match up. So as an example, paper charts, electric charts, and a sailing guidebook. A good time of day to be arriving somewhere is when the sun is behind you, as to give you the best vision as to what's under the surface, and you should always avoid arriving somewhere in the night time, especially remote locations.
Some things to take into consideration when checking out where to anchor. The depth. The ideal depth is somewhere between 3 and 10 metres, but something to keep in mind is that the shallower that you anchor in, the better chance you have of retrieving the anchor or chain if it's become wrapped around a coral reef or a coral head.
The tide. The tide height changes from place to place, and you really don't want to anchor until you know this, because you don't want to end up like this guy.
How many other boats are there in the area? Obviously, the more crowded the anchorage, the more chance there is of collision, particularly when there's inconsistent winds or currents in the area.
Weather. The direction of the wind and the swell is going to impact so dramatically on your overall comfort and safety that you won't make the same mistake twice.
Step 2. Do a drive-by and pick a spot.
They see me rolling, they hate it.
As you do this, you want to be comparing the depth on your sounder to that of the chart.
Be looking at the seafloor as you go. Is it mud, rock, weed or sand? The weed being the worst holding of the lot. What you want to be anchoring in is a nice blue patch of sand. Keep an eye out for rocks within the diameter of the scope that you plan to deploy it from the intended location of the anchor drop.
If there are other boats, pay attention to the way they're facing, and this will give you some indication as to the wind and the current in the area.
Step 3. Dropping anchor.
Drive over the spot you intend to drop the anchor and make sure that you're facing the wind or the current.
Make sure you're moving backwards as the anchor hits the seafloor. If you're moving forwards, it can become tangled.
We also recommend attaching a small flotation device to a line the same length as the water at high tide. This will show people in the anchorage where your anchor is, and it'll avoid people anchoring on top of your anchor or anchor chain and causing it to foul, which is never a good thing.
As the anchor hits the seafloor, you'll know it's hit sand because a little puff will come up.
Let out a scope of 3 to 1 and feel for the anchor to dig. If you place your bare foot or your hand on the anchor chain, you should be able to feel if it's dug into sand or if it's sliding across rocks.
Take a bearing on some fixed points in the area and make sure that you're not dragging backwards.
Then let out a scope of 7 to 1 and attach a bridle if you're a catamaran like us. The bridle should be at least the width of the boat, and if you're a monohull, you'll be using a snubber.
Don't leave the boat until you're sure it's not moving anywhere. Check against fixed landmarks and check the chart plotter as well.
If it's not freezing cold conditions, definitely jump in the water and check on your anchor and make sure it's not fouled. And while you're in the water, have a swim around and check for any other rocks. Step 4. Monitor your yacht.
If it's quite a crowded anchorage, you can set a radius alarm on your radar, which will notify you of other boats entering late at night. This way you can have peace of mind as you sleep.
And this is pretty cool. If you go to town for dinner or something like that, there are apps that you can download that'll notify you if your boat's dragging.
All that stuff's well and good, but the best thing obviously is to go and dive on your anchor. Something else to note is that just because someone told you or the chart says that you can anchor there doesn't mean that you always can. You always need to remain vigilant because things just could have changed.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to give the video a like.
And I will be in the comment section trying to figure out if we've missed out on anything, which is pretty unlikely.
Slept under tables and I've played in the rain. I've served at the bar and I've cleaned down